welcome back to my YouTube channel, or welcome if you're new. I'm Alice, and on this channel we have a lot of musical theatre themed videos. They're not all musical theatre themed, but most of them are. I'm very sorry for the lighting. I use natural lighting and it's very cloudy. I mean, it's only 4 o'clock and you can barely see a thing. So yes, helpful. Today's video is hopefully the last Simeon story, which means it's the 6th one. I've got the thing open, hang on a second. Yes, it's the 6th one. The sixth Simeon story. So this is our last Simeon story. Well, I think it'll be the last one. There's only like 10 more stories. And then we're on to other things. And I think I'm going to start doing like tags. I filmed a get to know me tag, which I tried to upload, and then I took out my SD card from my computer, which I was uploading it from, and obviously it hadn't finished uploading. So you'll probably see that before you see this. But yes, I'm going to do some more tags. I want to find like a British tag and do a British tag. I'm going to do the musical theatre tag as well, because but yes, make sure you like, subscribe and comment down below some other video ideas you have, because this is the last one of the series. And also my blog is linked in the description, so go check that out and read it, and yeah, let's go. Story number 1. So these are from like the end of the show. I think the end of the show in Joseph is not particularly long, but there's loads of numbers and they're all like really short numbers, so there's not much to talk about, even though there's a lot going on in these. So I can't tell you specifically like all of the songs, but all I can tell you is I haven't got anything from anything other than the last number for any of these, because I just couldn't think of anything. So yes. So the first one is from the finale, which is Any Dream Will Do, Reprieve. I'm pretty sure. I'm just going to grab a drink because my throat really hurts. And we had a ribbon dance again, and Wednesday's got taught it. I am a Wednesday. And it was fairly simple, like there weren't too many moves. And Wednesday's got taught it, and there were 2 versions of the dance, if you like. There was the one that the bulk of the group were doing, then there was the one that like 2 of us were doing. I was the one of the 2 people. I was the one from Wednesday doing it, and somebody else was doing it on Saturday. So I learned 2 dances and was told to forget the first one, basically. And then I don't think Saturday's properly learnt the dance, and we only did the finale like once, which meant we weren't like in a rehearsal room, we only did it once or twice, which meant, because every time we got to the last number, we just stopped. But there's more numbers, why have we stopped? And it was really annoying because we've stopped at a number we've rehearsed like twice, and when we rehearsed that number, we always rehearsed it with the other dance, not my dance, because the bulk of the people are doing it. So I took it into my own hands to learn the dance, because I've got the notes, so all I had to do was follow the notes, and quite often the notes are just like figure of 8 and things, because then it's easy to understand. So I learnt the dance, and then we got onto stage and we did the dance, and there was no positioning, everything was just a bit of a mess on stage. Everybody had a ribbon and everybody copied me. There might have been like 1 or 2 people that did the other dance, the one that everybody should have been doing, but everybody copied me because nobody knew the dance, because they hadn't rehearsed it themselves, they hadn't asked for help, they'd forgotten it, and so they all copied me, which meant that the person in Saturdays who was meant to be doing it came up to me and was like, what is the dance? So I told her what the dance was, and then everybody else just copied us. I was like, but you're not doing this dance, you haven't learned this bit of the dance, don't do it, and ask Claire, our choreographer, what you're meant to do, because it's not this. So that was lovely. And then right at the end of the show, so obviously we had bows, and right at the end of the bows we had pyros go off, which is technical ways of saying some form of, I don't know what, like firework, but they weren't fireworks. So in like a lot of stage productions you'll have sprinklers go off at the front of stage, for want of a better term, where there's just like loads of sparks come off at the front of stage. We didn't have those because probably we'd have had to have some form of insurance, which we probably don't have. But recently our theatre have had these things started using that they called cannons. I think they're called cannons, but they used the term cannons, and they also called them pyros, which went like 2/3 of the way up the proscenium arch. So the proscenium arch is the bit that bit of the theatre, so it frames the theatre. So they went like 2/3 up the proscenium, 2/3 of the way up the proscenium arch, or the bros arch, and they go off. They're just like, if you imagine like a party popper, they're just like that on a bigger scale. So they make a bit of a bang, and they told us, oh, these will go off, and when they go off you'll be fine, but we'll do one of them in rehearsal just so you know what it's like. So we got to the rehearsal and they did it, but we had them go off in both shows. So we had like them go off 3 times effectively the weekend. And my sister was 7 when we did the show. She was one of the youngest people in the cast because of when her birthday falls, and she was in the children's choir, and we were closer to the cannons than they were because they were at the back of stage and we were at the front of stage. But she was terrified. She'd psyched herself up so much because she hates anything like that. She hates fireworks, she hates loud bangs. So she'd psyched herself up for it and was really worried about it, especially because we'd all been like, it's fine, it's not happening today, you'll be fine. And it got to it, and I can't remember because everybody in the cast soon learned, especially because the people who I was around at this point were my friends, they learned that she was my sister. And I can't remember if I looked behind at her or if somebody was like, Alice, your sister. She was like crying. So I walked over to her, and the stage manager was there, and so was one of the education team. The stage manager was horrible. Do not like that stage manager. I appreciate she's got a show to run, and I appreciate that she wants things done her way because she knows that it'll work if it's done her way, and she needs complete control. But she had no empathy, she had no sympathy, and she was absolutely horrible in 2 situations, and this was one of them. And then there was the education lady, who was the person who I spoke about before when I did the dance off stage. She's the one who I knew from the day I started, and she's one of my sister's teachers. They were both with her, and this stage manager was talking her through, and like, it's just going to do this. I can't remember what she was saying. I walked over to my sister and went to give her a hug because she's my sister, and yeah, okay, we don't look the same, but okay, anyway. And she just goes, no, it's fine, I got it. I'm like, do you want to not? She's my sister. I didn't say that to her. So my sister was like in the middle, the stage manager was to her right, and the teacher was to her left. So I ignored the stage manager, which I know you shouldn't do, and if this had been like, if she was in the way of a prop coming on, I wouldn't have done it. Like, if it was something that would have hindered the running of the show, I wouldn't have done it. A, this was in a rehearsal the day before the show. B, if my sister did not feel safe, she would be horrifically, like, she wouldn't be happy on the actual show. Like, she wouldn't want to do the show. Like, it wasn't hindering the course of the show happening because they were waiting for it to go off. Like, they were like waiting for ages for it to go off. Like, nothing was going on, nothing was stopping the show carrying on, except the fact that we were just sitting around. Like, if we weren't sitting around, the chances were it'd be fine, but you were sitting around, which was making it worse. So I ignored the stage manager, which is like, you don't do that in a show. You don't ignore the stage manager. But she's in control of like everything except my sister's emotions and me being able to hug my sister. So I ignored the stage manager, turned away from her to the education lady and said, please can I hug her? And she just goes, yeah, of course you can, you're her sister. So I hugged her in front of the stage manager. Yeah. So I bet the stage manager hated us for that, but I'm sorry. My sister's upset because you're about to set off a really loud bang and you're not going to let me hug her. If you hadn't have stopped for this long, we wouldn't be in this situation. I am just going to tell the other story with her, which is kind of like less major, but you know, we had mics obviously, and the way mics work is you have to have tape so they don't fall off your face. It's basically just a plaster but stickier, and like it sticks, so your mic goes up from the back or up all the way your back, up your neck, and then we had cradles, so they cradled over. If you imagine like Britney Spears, then she has like a mic. It's like that. It goes over your ear, and the mic comes down one side, and you have tape on the back of your neck and tape where your mic is, so it sits in the right place. And then when you have to take your mic off, you have to rip the tape off, and it's on your face, which is really sensitive anyway, and on the back of your neck, which is where there's hair. So you're trying to pull this thing off, and you're pulling your hair out at the same time. You think about how painful it is pulling a plaster off and times it by like 10. And it's really sticky. And doing it yourself is okay, especially if you've done it before. Like, this was my 4th show, so this was my 4th year peeling mic tape off. So I was okay with the whole peel it off, and I wasn't like, it was fine. But if somebody else does it for you, it can be better, because then they can just rip it off straight away without having to stop, because they know you're in pain, and it's just better to get it over and done with. So I took mine off fine, because like, I'm fine with that kind of thing. One of the other little girls she was in my group, but she was like the youngest one, and she's like lovely. She asked me to take hers off, so I took hers off, and she was like, ow, but thanks. It's fine. And then her friend, who I'm also really like friendly with, was like crying because her tape really hurt. I was like, do you want me to take it off for you? And she was like, no. So then the stage manager took over and wouldn't let us sit with her to comfort her. I mean, it was less, that got over and done with quicker and would have been easier to deal with, like, and she wasn't my sister, but it was still just a bit annoying that she didn't have any empathy towards people. And then when we do bows of a show, they never set the bows before the show. You get to like the rehearsal, and they have to stop the rehearsal and tell you how you're going to bow. So we had that, and we just ended up being a mess because we didn't know how the bows were meant to work. So we had no idea how we were doing the bows, and we just spent forever just standing around dancing, and ended up standing on the person next to me for it was all just a bit of a mess, but it was quite funny. And we had like, in one of the shows, somebody was like, something needs to happen, we're just standing here like absolute lemons. So we went up and like ramped up the audience, and then we were told, like, somebody told us to get off stage, but also the curtain hadn't come down and we weren't really sure what to do, so we just kept standing on stage like dancing because we were really awkward. And then we all left stage, and it was absolutely crazy, but it was fun. So they're all the ones from the like show, but I've got 8 more that are like tech related or different. So let's buzz through those ones. So we, in our town, I think most places do it, at Christmas decorate with like Christmas lights. We have a Christmas tree, and they do a Christmas light switch on, and it's always like a big thing, and there's different people that come to perform, and there's dancing and all sorts. And I did 2 light switch ons last year. I did one with my choir at the old town of my town, because my town's got like the main town and then the old town. So the old town have theirs and we have ours. So I did my choir with the old town, and then I did, which was the week before the new town, and then in the new town I did with my drama academy, and then we were meant to do it with choir as well, but I was busy so I couldn't do choir. And this was at 12 o'clock lunchtime in like the winter. It was the 30th of November. So we had hoodies and our little drama academy gear, and it was absolutely lovely. And the stage was up right outside one of the shops in our town centre. We went in at 11 o'clock, rehearsed, and then went to the town, handed out leaflets for our drama academy, and then went and performed. And we had our group sung 12 Days of Christmas, but they rewrote the lyrics to fit with the drama academy. So it was 12 Panto tickets, 11 Joseph Brothers, 10 smiling pupils, 9 dress rehearsals, 8 acting actors, 7 vocal warm-up, 6 singing, 6 8 acting actors, 7 vocal warm-up, 6 8 vocal warm-up, 6 singing lessons, 5 jazz hands, 4 pirouettes, 3 vocal schools, 2 monologues, and a drama academy. I'm going to keep talking whilst I go and find my score. It's written over here. And then the little kid song, whatever the last song is, one of the songs from Nativity, I can't remember what they sang, and then we all sang Any Dream Will Do. And we had rehearsed in like our little group, and we were told, wait, 6 singing classes, I was right, oh my god. We were told that, because we had like a clump of people, we were told at the end of the number, you're going to split into 2 and you're going to walk off either side, because that's the professional, that's how we do it if we were on stage. Because nobody had told them how the stage worked, because the stage had 2 sets of stairs, and you went up the stage left and you were meant to then leave stage right, but nobody told them that till we were on stage. So there were people at the front filming it and making sure we were like singing the right words and smiling and being happy and advertising our drama academy to people. But nobody thought to tell us what side's gone. Like literally all it would have taken was for whoever was sitting at the front to go, and we all had to go off that way. But they didn't do that. So then it came to the end of the number, and there were people standing stage left where you had to come up, because the next, like, our juniors had to come on stage to sing their song. And I get why they had it that way, so that when you come to the end of your number you weren't in the way of the next group coming on, but because it was still effectively us that was about to come on, it wasn't a big deal. But I went to go off the wrong side because I was that side of the stage, and I just saw this person go, no, go the other way, so I had to run across stage and go down the stairs, so that was quite funny. But also the version of Any Dream Will Do was different to the one we sang in the show. What was different to the main one, it was that reprise, but then when we did the reprise we did it differently to how we did it at Christmas, which is helpful. And then once we'd done our dress rehearsal, my singing teacher came up to me. No, what did we do? We had a sits probe. Basically we stood on stage and sung all the songs for the band. And I can't remember when it was, but my singing teacher came up to me at some point, it was probably lunchtime, came up to me and said, by the way, the person from Tech, I think she named somebody but I can't remember, she was like, Tech said that, oh no, the sound people said that if everybody was singing like you, we'd have a great show. Get me? It's just put me in the right mood to do this show. Just, yes. It was a great mood booster. And then at the end of our show, when we got picked up at the end of the day, I think, the person who's in charge of the drama academy is also one of my friend's mums, and as we were walking out she said to me, somebody said, I can't remember who it was, one of the people said that you should play Joseph, and we just kind of looked at her and went, yeah, and left, because yeah. Oh yeah, there's so many different things about singing teachers. We had 2 different singing teachers. Wednesdays had a singing teacher and Saturdays had a singing teacher. And when we'd done our show, our singing teacher wasn't there because she had something else to do. She had a concert of her own. And so when we'd done our show, we were sitting down for lunch, and this other singing teacher from Saturdays came up to me, and she'd only met me a couple of times, and she'd actually taught me. She was like one of the ones who taught me One More Angel, but she didn't like know me particularly well. She came up to me and complimented me on my solo and One More Angel. She told me I did really well. I was like, oh, thank you. And then on our, I spoke about this before, when we had what's it called, Canaan Days, we were all meant to have moustaches. Don't know why that's moustache, but it is. And our singing teacher stole one of them and wore it all of Saturday, and there's just a picture, I could probably find it, but I can't remember. The photographer was going on taking pictures, and for the sits probe she was sitting at the front stage, and so he's taken a picture of her just looking over a score up at us with the moustache, and it's so funny. And then our set, the set was massive. I've shown a picture of it before and I'll find another picture. But we'd only rehearsed as a group 2 times, and when you rehearse, well, before the show day, and when you rehearse, you don't rehearse in a room that's as big as the show, as the stage. And then when we rehearsed the last time, they taped out where all the set was going to be, so everybody knew where to sit effectively. And they then filmed our rehearsal for the tech crew, so the tech crew knew what everything was going to happen and like how it was a run through. They filmed it so everybody could see, so they could see where everything needed to be so nobody got injured, basically. But apparently the tech crew didn't even watch the video, and also I don't think anybody quite estimated how it was. So this is the set. I showed it last time, but I'll show it again. Oh my god, you can see the window in the reflection. And up top, the bit that you stood on, so I know it looks like that's the top there, that's not, the top's like there. There was a trap door in that and it was all really wobbly, and it took up most of the space on stage. It doesn't look like it does, but it does. And none of us had seen that set before, and so there was just, none of us had seen that set before and none of us had worked with that little space on stage, because even when we'd done the rehearsal with the tape on the floor, the room we were in had 2 pillars, so they just made it worse as well. So we hadn't ever seen the set and it was too big for everything to work, so yeah, and that's not normally a problem because we don't normally have a set that big, but we did this year. Our group started with 10 people. Well, last year for Showcase we had 6 people after everybody left after Hairspray, and then we had 4 new people join. 2 of them moved up from the juniors. One of them won they did like a competition and one person could win effectively a scholarship for a term, so he won that and he joined the Wednesdays. And then we had one person who just joined, and so we had 10 people. And then at half term, one of the people who'd done Showcase with us left because she wanted to do more like not stage acting, we are doing stage acting, like film acting. So she went to a different film school, well, theatre school, whatever you want, drama school. And then the one who won the scholarship left because his timetable was too busy. And then the only other person who left was the person who was playing Jacob, and he kind of didn't leave, but he didn't do the show. And actually no, is that everybody that left? That left us with 8 people. Yeah. But then also we had somebody go home because they felt really sick. So yeah, we actually only ended up with 6 by the end of the show day, but yeah. And then the last story was our town has like a college in, which I think is normal for towns to have colleges in, obviously. And they have like a makeup course, and normally when we have a show we do our own makeup because yeah, but the people in charge this time decided to make some of the like training makeup artists from the college, and they used MAC products and they used another brand, but I can't remember what the brand is called. I can't remember. Oh, they used MAC makeup and Snazaroo face paints. They didn't use any Snazaroo, they just used MAC stuff. And they were meant to do all of our makeup, and they did some of them for the rehearsal and they did like all of the seniors for the show. But there were 4 makeup artists. 2 of them didn't turn up till they didn't turn up for a couple of hours, which was a bit bad. So there were literally 2 makeup artists trying to do all of us, all 20 of us, which wasn't particularly fair. And they were given a really bad kit. They were given like, I want to say probably 4 or 5 foundation shades, the lightest of which was too dark for the palest of us, which meant that we looked orange. But everybody was like, we were all like, it's fine because by the time you get on stage, like the lights wash you out, so it wasn't an issue. But we looked pale. No, we didn't. We looked orange. But then the darkest shade wasn't dark enough for the people of colour in our group, because we had different, like, obviously we had darker skin tones, but then we got into people of colour as well who couldn't have foundation on because they didn't have a colour that matched them, and they literally put foundation on and bronzer, and that was it, I think. So I mean, they were absolutely lovely, and I had a really nice conversation with my makeup artist, but we could have just done that ourselves and it would have been better, probably saved you money. So that is the end of Simeon stories, and I thought today was going to be shorter, but I waffled. So yeah, like I said, like, comment, subscribe, check out my vlog, and make sure you tell me like any other series you want me to start or anything like that. And it's summer holidays now, so I wouldn't be going to drama even if it was open, but I'm pretty sure dance schools could have opened from the weekend, and I think some drama schools I've seen some drama schools saying they're opening as well. So fingers crossed, come September, I might be able to go back to my drama academy. Touch wood. My bed's wood, which is why I'm touching my wood. Touching my bed. Really hope so. Because I've done a term without. It's been 19 weeks since I went to drama. It's also been 19 weeks since theatre's shut. I want to go back. But I know that the building that my drama academy is in is like half open and half shut still, because they've got like a gym and sports stuff on the bottom floor, the ground floor, and then the first floor is like the theatre, and then the second floor is where we do our drama stuff. So even if the theatre's not open by September, the building's still open, so even if we can't go up into the rooms that we usually use, there's dance studios we might be able to use. So please world, please, I really want to go back. Don't kill anybody, please. I hope you enjoy.